Hey guys, I'm actually not here to talk about storytelling. They got it wrong. I'm actually here to talk about something that kind of terrorizes us all, and it's called fear. My very first hero in life, fellow Canadian and legendary hockey player Wayne Gretzky, said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I want to talk about fear today because the God's honest truth is that I am completely tired of watching people that I care about not take their shots. They won't walk through the doors of opportunity that open for them because they're afraid. And they're afraid for all sorts of different reasons. They're afraid of fear. They're afraid of success. They're afraid that the reality won't match the fantasy. They're afraid because they don't know what's going to be on the other side of that door when they walk through. And I've been there. I think I've covered all of those scenarios single-handedly, and I'm telling you, it is no way to live. So why does fear win? Why do we allow it to make our choices for us? Well, here's what I've observed, both from personal experience and from the people around me. You're going about your life, business as usual, la-di-da, and all of a sudden, a door opens for you, and on the other side of that door is a really interesting opportunity. And your first reaction is excitement. Man, you start picturing this thing in your life, and suddenly everything looks rosier. Your imagination is firing off, and you think, my God, I'm so lucky, and I would be a fool not to walk through this door. But then something else starts to happen, and this is the kicker. You start to think about it. And when I say think, I'm talking about the grand understatement of the year, because you are dissecting this thing, you are analyzing this thing, you're asking everybody else their opinion about what you should do, and they project all their fears onto it, and then your fears kick in, and before you know it, you've talked yourself out of a really great opportunity. Because you're scared. And this thing is risky. And risk takers they don't get scared, right? Wrong. I got to debunk that myth right now because I am a big risk taker and I am scared all the time. All the time. And I'll give you a recent example. When I was asked to speak here at TED, man, I got that call and I thought, this is the best day of my life, because for years I've been watching TED interviews and speeches when I've needed a pick-me-up or a little bit of inspiration, and I thought, wow, to be invited into that club and to have the potential to maybe inspire one person out there like I've been inspired, man, that is pretty cool. But then I started to think about what I was actually going to say, and I totally freaked out. I had a meltdown. I was praying I was going to get hit by a bus. I mean, like, you have no idea. Because I was thinking things like, all right, I've never done public speaking before, and I'm supposed to compare to all these amazing people on the stage? Are you freaking kidding me? I'm this like weird, gangly Canadian girl from Canada. Well, I guess Canadians do come from Canada. What right do I have to stand on that stage and talk about an idea that I think is worth sharing? Well, then I managed to calm myself down, and I'll talk about how I do that in a minute. But I calmed myself down, and I thought it was really important that I answer that question for myself. What right do I have to stand on this stage? And the answer was actually really simple. I was asked. And now my only obligation is to walk through that door of opportunity and do the best that I can. And so what if I'm scared? So what? New territory is scary stuff. It just is. So what if I'm scared? So what? And so what if you're scared? You got to walk through the door of opportunity anyway. And it doesn't matter if it's a big door or a little door, a big change or a small change, fear is fear. A friend of mine was telling me a couple of weeks ago that her 16-year-old son is about to take his driver's test for the first time, and he is so freaked out and so terrified that he hasn't been eating or sleeping. And I thought, I bet you any money that kid is as frightened to take his driver's test as Barack Obama was on his first day in the White House. Fear is fear. And I was freaked out when MTV relocated me 16 months ago from LA to New York to do a job that I actually really didn't know how to do, and Human Resources is going to love me for saying that. But I really didn't. But I had this gut that if I showed up and I kept at it, I'd probably figure it out. And I just bet you that it'll be the highlight of my career. And that's exactly what I did. And for the first few months, man, I felt like a total fraud and an imposter, and like they were going to literally walk in my office at any moment and fire me. But I did it anyway. And I wasn't afraid to look like a fool. I took risks, and for every 10 bad ideas I threw out there, there were 1 or 2 that were actually the basis of something really good. And before I knew it, everything just kind of started coming together. And I'm proud to say that working at MTV is absolutely the most fulfilling part of my career. And I'm here because I wasn't afraid to walk through that door. Or rather, I was afraid, but I did it anyway. So how do you manage the fear? What do you do? I'm going to give you my 3 best tips, and they're super simple, but I swear to God they work. Feel free to use them. The first thing I do is called thin slicing. And thin slicing is a term coined by Malcolm Gladwell, the author, in his book, Blink. And what he means by this is the way that you react in the first few moments of receiving a new piece of information, like a door opening, is actually really well informed. It's your gut and it's your intuition telling you what's right for you before your brain has a chance to come in and confuse everything. Pay attention to it. It has been my trusted ally, and I hope it is yours too. The second thing I do is I get really grounded and centered, and for different people, that's going to mean different things. I mean, for one person, it could be a bubble bath and a good glass of wine. For somebody else, it could mean going for a run, getting physical, and for someone else, it could be a good romantic comedy and a bucket of ice cream. But whatever the case, clear your head, get centered, and get grounded. The third and final thing I do is I talk to the positive people in my life. These are the people who, as my friend Kelly Catrone says, hold our dreams for us. They're the ones who see our gifts, they see our talents, and they know our potential, and they remind us of those things when we forget. If you know that your sister or the girl in the office down the hall tends to be super negative and they're not going to support you, don't talk to them. Don't you already know how that conversation is going to turn out? Don't do it. I heard it said, and I don't know by whom, but, oh, there's my door. I forgot about my door. You're only as successful as the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let me just say that again. You are only as successful as the 5 people you spend the most time with. So curate the voices and influences around you really, really carefully. All right, so here's what I hope you guys take away from all of this. You're scared. I get it. I'm right there with you. But if you have an inkling and a desire to have a certain experience, have it. Just remember, trust your first reaction, get grounded, talk to the positive people in your life, and go for it. Being afraid is no reason not to. And I'm going to leave you with one final quote by English writer Somerset Maugham, who said, "If you don't change your beliefs, your life will be like this forever." Is that good news? Thank you.